Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tech Talk with Lamel. I'm your host, Lamel, and today we are going to go through some tips and tricks on how to clean up unwanted programs and unwanted apps in your computer. Now, this is a very beginner's level um, walkthrough, and it's going to be rather on the long side because it's going through individual programs and showing you how to uninstall. With that being said, I had to do it on a laptop that was newly formatted and reinstalled and everything like that to be able to show you. And the audio quality might be slightly different. So please bear in mind, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, so first things first, we are going to start by making a system restore point. And basically, that's what's referred to as saving before you make any changes here. So you click on the little search bar here and you start typing in create a restore point. That is the button we want to push on. And it'll bring up this little section. Now, as you can see, there are a couple of different options like system restore. It shows you what is being protected, and it's letting you know that the protection status is on. In most cases, it comes on by default unless somehow it got shut off. Then you have the configuration, and then you have create. Now, what we are going to do first, not every computer is going to be the same, but a lot of this is going to be very similar between my computer and yours. We want to configure, and we want to make sure that the protection is on. And we're going to take this slider and we're going to move it to 2%. If it's already there, fine. But if I'm not mistaken, it's usually set to 0. 2% in my experience is plenty to make sure that you have an appropriate system restore point. Now, because I didn't make any changes, the apply button didn't light up. But your apply button should be lit up, so you're going to want to click apply and wait for it to make its adjustments, and then click OK. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to create a restore point. We just click on this button and we give it a name, something that we know stands out for this particular walkthrough. So I'm going to call this one walkthrough or just walk. And we're going to hit create. It's going to take some time for it to make that system restore point, depending on how what kind of setup you have on your computer. This is perfectly fine. It's going to be different. Okay, now once you see this little button, it is okay. Everything is done, and you click close. Now, we don't need this anymore. Okay, so basically what we just did is we just made a restore point. So in the process of removing programs and stuff like that we don't want, if something gets messed up, all we have to do is do the restore. All right, now once we got our restore point made, we're going to come down and we're going to start making tweaks to our toolbar. If we right click anywhere on the toolbar that is blank, and this little menu should come up. Now, not all of these are going to be checked for you. Some of them might be, some of them might not be. And feel free to keep what you want and don't keep what you don't want. I don't like any of this up here, So I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to start turning them off. Notice how the correlating apps disappear from your taskbar. All right, so now you can choose to turn off news and interest, which I already did. That's usually the first thing I do when I start putzing with a computer because it gets annoying quick. Now up here, you can choose to have it show the search bar here like this, or you can choose to have it show the icon for it, which is just this little magnifying glass. And it does the same thing. You click on it, it opens the search bar. Or you can choose to have it not show anything. Right there. See, everything's gone. But with that being said, you won't be able to use any of the search. I like having the little search icon there at least. Now, you notice how my little toolbar likes to hide. If you click on toolbar settings, you can turn that on here or you can turn it off. If you turn it off, this will stay there permanently. I turn it on because when I'm on my laptop, you know, things don't always fit and just this toolbar is in the way and can't really get to the parts that I want to get. But you can have that on or off. We definitely want to lock the toolbar, make sure that's on. And that's all you need in here. So now we've got our toolbar tweaked here. Now we're going to come to the start button. So now there's a bunch of programs in here that you don't really need. Okay, and when you're looking through, you can decide which ones you want to keep and which ones you don't. Now, with that being said, for me, I am working on an HP system, and anything that says HP, I am going to keep on my system. It's going to be different for you because you may have a different computer, like you may have a Dell or an Acer or whatever. Just make sure you don't remove any of those things that say HP systems and stuff like that. None of these should be removed. And if we come here, this says Intel, and that has everything to do with your processor. And you don't want to remove any of those programs. So for me, my HP stuff and my Intel stuff, I am going to keep. Now, it may be slightly different for you because depending on what you're running with, how old or how new your system is. But those you're going to want to keep. Now, with that being said, there are some programs that you cannot uninstall, like Microsoft Edge. You cannot uninstall that. That's one of the systems that you're going to have to just live with. And Microsoft Store, you can uninstall it, but I don't recommend it. The only way to do it is in an advanced tutorial, and that's not where we're going to be right now. So there are some programs, if it doesn't give you an uninstall button, more than likely it's just going to be something you're going to have to live with. All right, so now if we go back up to the top here, like this mail program here, you don't need it. If you're checking your email, more than likely you're opening your web browser and you're going through whatever Yahoo or anything like that. So you really don't need that program. Uninstall, uninstall. And if you give it a minute, boom, it's gone. Okay, now, if you want to keep the alarm clock, you can. You can choose to turn it on. All right, take that back. You can't choose to turn it off. So it's there. You're going to want to leave 3D Viewer. Now you can choose to turn off the calculator, but every time I turn it off or uninstall it, I find myself needing it. But that's just me. The camera and Cortana you cannot remove. You can also not remove the help. This is a program for a web browser. I am choosing to leave that one here because that is the web browser I use. Now, just go through and pick and choose, other than the ones that have to stay. Pick and choose the ones if you don't need it. Like if you don't use it, then more than likely, odds are you don't need it. See, micro movies and TV. That is a program through Microsoft where you can buy and rent movies without having to leave the comfort of your own home. Some people like it, some people don't. You can remove it. Just right click, go to uninstall. But I like having it. I use movies and whatnot through there. All right, so oops. Next one we're going to touch is we're going to get rid of Office. I do not use Office, so I am going to uninstall it. If you use Microsoft Office, then I don't recommend uninstalling it. Okay, and next, OneDrive. You don't need it. And that's going to bring us to here. We're going to click on the OneDrive, and we're just going to click uninstall. Now, in a second or two, the screen's going to go blank for you guys, and it's going to ask me right here, do I really want to do this? Yes, I do. And it's going to bring it back so that you guys can see it. All it is asking for permission and saying, are you sure you want to uninstall this program? I'm sure I want to uninstall that program. So now we're going to hit the red X, and we're going to come back to our start menu here. And we're going to continue on down the line. I do not use any of this stuff, so I am going to remove it. Print 3D, you're going to want to keep that. PC Health, you're going to want to keep that. Phone Link, you got to, if I'm not mistaken, yep, you got to keep that one. You don't have any choice. Pictures, I keep it. If you have a photo gallery or what, if you have pictures on here, you're going to need it. If you don't, then feel free to get rid of it. All right. So there are some programs that come pre-installed from the App Store, like Skype. I use that program on a regular basis, and I prefer the one that you download and install from the internet, from the web page, instead of the one that comes through the Microsoft Store. In my opinion, it's glitchy. It doesn't always work right, so I uninstalled that app and I installed the one that I downloaded from the actual Skype web page. Snip and Stitch, you don't really need that. It's a kind of an editing program for videos. If you want it, you can keep it. I don't use it, so I'm getting rid of it. The Solitaire collection, you can use it if you want, but there's no real need for it. Uninstall. I do not use Spotify, so I'm going to get rid of that program. Sticky Notes, I'm getting rid of that because I don't use it. Now this controls your touchpad on your laptop. If you have, I don't recommend uninstalling that. Tips, and you can uninstall tips. This is another video editing program which you cannot uninstall. All right, you can uninstall this because, again, sometimes the apps that come from the Microsoft Store don't work as well as just the web-based ones. Voice recorder, you don't need that. You can just do without it. Uninstall. You can't uninstall that video editing. The weather, you can keep it if you want. I don't use it. I depend on the one on my cell phone all the time, so bye. This you don't need. Uninstall. Bye-bye. Now, notice on the side here, as I go through programs that are being uninstalled, they're disappearing from here. That's perfectly okay and normal. Okay, so all these folders marked Windows and everything like that, we have to keep. So we're going to go down. You can uninstall Word, because more than likely you have something other than that installed anyways. Xbox console, you can uninstall that because you don't really need it. It's for gaming, so uninstall. The gaming bar, you cannot. Yeah, you can't uninstall the gaming bar. So that's pretty much that for all the programs in here. Like I said, go through, pick the ones you want to keep. If you don't use it, more than likely you don't need it. If you do need it, then don't uninstall it. Simple. Now over here, we're going to right click. And if you want this panel here, you can keep it. You have a choice of putting it to the size that you want. I don't want it there, so I'm just going to remove it. I don't ever plan on linking my phone, but I am going to I'm just going to unpin it. This you don't need, and this you don't need. If any of the stuff that you're removing from this panel here give you an uninstall option, I strongly recommend uninstalling it. See, like this one, it's just a news feed. You don't really need it. Most people have a news feed from somewhere else. You could unpin this. Now, again, like I said, if you have pictures on your computer, you're going to need this program. And it will flash through your pictures here and give you an idea. I don't want the Microsoft Store there, so I'm going to unpin that. Okay, so basically we have our control panel, our start panel all cleaned up. All right, so next we're going to uninstall some programs that may not be needed from your control panel. So if you come down here and click on the little folder, a window is going to open up and it's going to give you something that looks similar to this. May not be exactly the same, but it's probably going to look very similar. If you go here and click on the drop down menu, go down to control panel, click on that, this window opens up. Now here you can click uninstall programs. Now the majority of the programs here are important programs for your computer. Everything that I have except for Skype, OBS, and Google Chrome. These are all this other stuff is either important or you can't uninstall it. Again, you cannot uninstall the Edge, not through a basic walkthrough like we're doing. So everything here is fine. We close that out. If we open our search bar and click or type, add or if you want add or remove programs. Click on that, and it will give you a list of another list of stuff that you can go through and uninstall. Now, in this one, it's going to be, if you notice that there are a lot more programs in here than they were listed in the control panel. And we're going to go through and we're going to either uninstall them or decide to keep them. Now, 3D view, need to keep. Alarm clock, need to keep. App installer, need to keep. Booking, I have no idea what that is. I'm going to click on it. We're going to click uninstall. And then we're going to click uninstall again. We're going to let it do its thing. Calculator, camera, Cortana all need to stay. Well, okay. I'm choosing to leave the calculator. Cortana and the camera cannot be uninstalled. All right, here we've got Disney Plus. Again, strongly recommend using the web browser version of it and not the installed app. Dropbox, you don't need it. Click on it, uninstall, uninstall. Energy Star, you don't need it. Uninstall. Feedback HUD, you don't need it. Uninstall. Get help. It doesn't let you uninstall it. Again, Chrome I use, and that is my default browser. Groove, we uninstalled it from one section, now we got to uninstall it from the next section. It doesn't give us the ability to uninstall that. Now we're back down to the programs that you were told not to uninstall in the start menu. Anything that controls your computer, you want to keep. All this stuff that says HP, Intel, you want to keep all of that stuff. All right, again, if it's Intel, HP, depending on what your computer is, like if you have an Acer, they may have different programs to regulate and control certain things. Again, mine is an HP system, so I'm going to keep anything that's revolving around HP until I can dive into them deeper. LinkedIn can go. You don't really need it. You can get, okay, it doesn't give you the option to uninstall that. I figured it would. All right, so you can't uninstall that. All right, McAfee. This you don't need. Messaging you don't need. All right, we're going to skip over all the Microsoft and Windows stuff. And this one you need. I don't even believe it. Well, it gives you the option to uninstall it, but I have no idea what that program does, so I'm going to leave it alone. Mobile plan. Don't need it. Movies and TV. That's the same one I showed you in the start menu. Don't need it. Now, again, like I said, the apps from the App Store don't necessarily work the greatest. I prefer using the web browser. So if you want to keep them, that's fine. I don't like them, so it's going. Now, this OBS Studio is what I use to record my videos, so I definitely need to keep that. We're going to skip down to people, and that's not going to let us uninstall. And I think I just uninstalled the web, or not the web, but the actual programming from. I'll look in a minute. You can uninstall Microsoft Live. And you can't uninstall that one. So basically, everything that's left are either programs that you want or programs that you need for your computer to run. And that's pretty much all you need to do. Yes, that definitely did uninstall my Skype program. So I'm going to have to go back to the internet and re-download it. For something that minor, and instead of doing a restore on it and having to go through and clean everything up again, I'm just going to re-download that program. All right, so if you made a mistake, click on here. You're going to go here and hit restore. Come down here, choose a different restore. Remember the one I told you to name walk? That will be the one you want to pick. Now, with that being said, if you go back and restore it all, everything that you changed after you made this restore point will be undone. So, unless your system is acting really bad, you kind of want to leave it alone. Maybe go through the hassle of re-downloading the programs. But if you accidentally uninstalled something that you really need, like something that controls your computer, like for instance, if I were to have removed some of the HP stuff, then I would go back and use the system restore. Basically, you're going to click on the one you want, going to click next. I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to perform a system restore, but you're just going to follow the prompts and continue. Now, restoring it is going to take some time. So if you choose to do it, you're going to probably have to sit for a while and let it do its restoration. Here, I'm just going to click cancel and I'm going to get out. And then I'm going to close that up. Okay, that's all we have for today. Hopefully you learned some new things and figured some things out for yourself. If you did, make sure you hit the like button. And if you want to stay tuned for future videos, hit that subscribe button. Till then, I'm Lamel, and this has been Tech Talk with Lamel.